Our movie, which never happens today, you know, went into theaters in December and was still in theaters in May. And that's like, that doesn't happen. I mean, it just doesn't happen that a movie lasts for months, still grossing and doing well. And I think that because the success was proven pretty quickly, the idea was, let's get the other one going pretty quickly. And, you know, we were still in theaters when we were in prep for the second one. And yeah, actually Wes was doing the DVD commentary for the first one while we were scouting in Georgia. And we were like, that's kind of crazy. I mean, that was pretty much a shot out of the cannon. So we knew what the opening sequence was going to be. And that's kind of the thing that Kevin kind of, you know, anchored each of these in, was the launch point. I mean, we knew that the success of what had happened in Woodsboro was going to translate thematically to this idea of a movie being made. And so we had enough information to kind of start even without a fully fleshed out script. I think Kevin was like, hadn't even finished. He was like 50 pages in when we were like prepping. It was a time when originality was okay and success could be found with something called original. Now, original is a scary word, and that's really scary. Yeah. That's a scary movie.
Courtney and Dave Arquette were so nice. Courtney was always throwing dinners and parties, and everyone was included. I mean, Neve was so nice. Jamie Kennedy and I became very close friends, immediately. And it's just so different than any Hollywood experience I've had since then. You know, if you come on board to something a little late, there's a real transition process. I mean, it's like junior high, you know, everyone ostracizes you until you get into the clique. But man, they're just so nice. And I think that's why the Scream shows or the Scream movies are so enjoyable, is because, you know, Courtney, Dave, Neve, Wes, these people are so welcoming. From day one, it was a group experience, and there was no playing favorites. It was really quite possibly the most gregarious, fun, friendly environment I've ever worked in. I got to tell you, I had a real crush on her when I worked with her. She's just so beautiful, and just such a nice. She's got a grace about her. I attribute it to her. I attribute it to the fact that she was a ballet dancer for many years before she was a film actress, a TV actress, and I know she was, you know, a lead dancer in Phantom of the Opera on stage. So there's a real old school grace about Neve Campbell. And I had a real crush on her. She had a pretty serious boyfriend at the time, so I didn't stand a shot. Jamie and I just hit it off, you know? I mean, I had never experienced a comedian like Jamie Kennedy. He's crazy. He was just so irreverent and just so fresh and like nothing I had ever seen. And he's a real genius, Jamie Kennedy. I follow his career very closely. We're not so much in touch anymore. Just, I mean, I'm an old man. I have kids and all that stuff, and I'm pretty sure he's still single out there. But he and I really were pretty tight for a couple years, and we were really good friends on that shoot. We had a break over. We were shooting over the summer, and we had a break over 4th of July. And he said, "What are you doing for the vacation?" And I said, "I'm going to New York. I'm going to see my parents, who live on Long Island." And he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll go with you." And I was like, "You'll come with me?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm coming." And I was like, "To come stay at my parents' house in Long Island?" And he was like, "Yeah, I got nothing else to do. I mean, we don't have to be at work until, you know, we had a couple weeks off while all the trucks and everything moved from Atlanta back to LA, because we had a lot of shooting to do in LA left." And oh man, he and I have a lot of funny memories. It's just, you know, it's one of those friendships when you're young. 97, so I was 23. And Jamie, I think, was just, you know, we were all so young and, you know, had no responsibilities. And, you know, it was just, it was such a fun time. I do have to say, real sad when Jamie Kennedy died in that movie. We were all sad. We were all there on set. I wasn't in that scene, but I came down to watch it. And it was emotional, you know? It was a big movie for Jamie. And I shouldn't speak on his behalf, but I mean, what I got from it, that Scream movie really launched everybody's careers, you know? But for Jamie, it was a real, he just really popped from that movie. And, you know, he died in the second one, and that's what makes the Screams, you know? I mean, you know, they're going to kill Drew Barrymore. They're going to kill everybody.
Scream 2 is pretty amazing because it just had a plethora of people in it. I mean, it had Heather Graham in, like, the movie version of, like, Tori Spelling being the actress version. I mean, it had, like, 20 recognizable, at the time, and still to this day, very known people. And, you know, it was kind of amazing, and it was, like, a cool thing, like, you got to get in Scream movies. I think that, we were still a pretty tight-knit group, but everybody, I mean, I remember seeing Sarah Michelle Gellar at the table reading, and I thought, that girl's really hot. And at the time, I remember she was blowing up in Buffy, and she just, the girl looked like she just worked every second, like she was always like, you know, she was very well put together, but like, she had just literally wrapped, I know he did last summer, and like the next day was at our table read, and Dwayne Martin, I remember, and Jerry, we were hanging out, and Timothy Oliphant, and I remember Rebecca from like the Noxzema commercials, and Portia was, you know, an up-and-coming actress, and I mean, it was a bigger unit, but we were still all pretty close. I mean, we would go out and hang out at different places, and it was neat. I don't think we felt as much pressure. I thought we felt we were on a great train, and since we only got the scripts every couple days, we, you know, had no idea what to expect. Well, I gave him a goatee, but I only gave him half of one because at the time grunge was big, so I thought he was like influenced by that. I wanted him to have a little bit of darkness to him because, you know, I actually talked about this with Neve, and, you know, we both agreed because, you know, at that time, horror movies were like people were being slaughtered and their heads cut off, and people like, "Oh, what are you doing for the weekend?" And it's just like not real. It's like if you see that horrific events, you're gonna be twisted up. So I thought like he got a little darker, he was a little edgier. At the time, Jerry O'Connell was in the movie. Like I was working out with him a lot. You know, that's all we did. And, so I just wanted him to evolve. I don't know how much. I mean, he still didn't really have any sex, you know. But he was always with Neve and pining after Neve. I mean, that was his MO in life, to get her on a date. So, but I guess he grew a little bit. I remember that we're in the van, we had a stunt man, and it was Courtney in the front who opens it and sees me. But yeah, no, it was like I went in, and then the guy grabs me, and then that was it. And then Courtney opens me, and I'm like, yeah, it wasn't that crazy. On a deeper level, I sometimes think that Randy should have been involved in the killings because he was sexually frustrated. We broke the rules when Neve didn't get killed and she had sex. I mean, there are certain rules that we didn't abide by and people lived. And I think that, like, Randy, if the killers changed, they changed. But by the third one, he could have gotten dark and been like, this is fucked up. I don't know. But maybe you would resent him, but maybe it would be really cool.
It was kind of hard to sort of rehash or bring together the new crew the way we kind of did on the first one, because we already had a history. Neve, Jamie, myself, Courtney, and Wes and the crew, and we got to know those people, but we didn't all hang out quite as much, and it wasn't the same sort of thing. And it was in Atlanta and was spread out, and, you know, scenes were all over the place and not sort of, you know, we didn't stay in this one house for, you know, 2-3 weeks or something. So So it was different, but we, you know, they were great. It was great to get to know them, and I really enjoyed everyone in that second film. But you know, the highlight was working with my father.
I guess the problem is you've been a red herring once. How do you become a red herring twice? And I think that was just sort of how I played the character, was you know, trying to make choices that made him seem spooky and made him seem that he was a dangerous element. At the same time, and what was so much fun about shooting the film and working with Kevin and Wes was that there was this huge database of information about the genre, and we were all always constantly bantering back and forth about what people were expecting and what we should do to raise their expectations for the second and the third. I just remember how much fun it was to shoot. You know, in the theater you have that all the time, where you work with the same people night after night, and you sort of develop a sense of camaraderie and family, and because the Scream movies were so successful, we had the opportunity to all work together again and again and again, and it was really a treat. You know, because you don't remember, I mean, you don't realize that, even though I'm only in the first film for, I don't know, something like 30 seconds, it takes a long time to shoot those things, and you're sort of living there with those people. So we had already had a rapport by the time we worked on Scream 2. And it was just, you know, it was just so much fun to sort of come back and work with your friends. You know, the big finale in Scream 2 was really fun. You know, it was great to see. I was so happy that, I remember being really happy that that Cotton was vaguely heroic in it, and that I got to work with Laurie Metcalf. Both of those things were kind of a treat for me.
The challenge with the second one, which actually got me in hot water at the time, was I came up with a theme for Dewey and Gail, which I thought was really kind of cool. Almost like playing him a little bit like a lone town sheriff, and sort of taking off on like a sort of a Western theme for it. So I guess, you know, really focusing on their identity more in that movie became part of it. Now, you know, it turned out they actually used a piece from Broken Arrow from it, which, you know, tested well and so forth. But so that actually doesn't really come back until I think the third movie. I was really able to come back to their theme and develop it more. But that, I think that was the challenge. In terms of setting up the environment for the movie being a ride, and the language, the musical language and all that, that was already set, and it was sort of just continuing from where I left off. I think the biggest change that happened after the first movie is that when consecutively the budgets went up, and so we went from being a sort of hybrid synth small orchestra thing to having, by the third movie, sort of a full-blown orchestra and choir, and I think it was like an 80-piece orchestra, or 85, and so in that sense the scale really went up, and that's probably the biggest difference of all.
Here's a guy, you know, he just got out of, he probably went to one of those academies like DeVry, you know, for cameramen, you know, and everyone else knew that her last cameraman died a vicious death, but me. Like, I just was like happy to get a job. Like, I just got the call. Like, oh yeah, I'll be there. You know, I feel, you know, maybe I worked for BET or something. I don't know, Black Entertainment Television. You know, I was like, you know, doing like on the scene stuff, on out in the field, whatever. But this was a great opportunity for me. I was like, look, she's a star. I get to be her guy. All right, cool, I'm in. Then I realized people were dying. What kind of gig is this? I don't think I should be here. he probably was like this like low level celebrity. You know, he probably went and like started smoking weed, got fat, you know, ended up on Celebrity Fit Club or something like that. You know, just, you know, trying to sell his book. It's like a little paperback that he put together. You know, like, you know, Courtney's character's got the real book and it's on the bestseller, and he's got the little pamphlet. They screamed "I Ran" by Joel, like just some stupid, cheap, like paperback, stapled together, like cheap paper, my picture on the cover with the camera, and a photo of Courtney and that she didn't approve. That's kind of cut out. It's just like cheap in the background behind me. Usually when you do a film, there's a rap party at the end, right? Everybody's hanging out, everybody's dancing, doing karaoke, drinking, and then you find out, oh man, the grip was a cool cat, like, or you know, the script supervisor was really. So you get to hang out with people in a different setting, and then you go, man, if I had known you were that cool, we would have hung out throughout the whole shoot, because we shot this in Atlanta. And what they did was they had a party before. So everybody got to know each other at the beginning of the shoot. So we all went everywhere together. Like we would if we were going in town, we went bowling, we went shopping, we went, you know, with the clubs together, food. It was like this fraternity, and we all just every day we're just sitting in the lobby waiting for somebody to come down, because everyone like wouldn't leave until everybody was there, and we just traveled. I remember one day Wes looked over, said to me, "I can see your skull." I said, "Keep that to yourself, Wes, because for some reason I believe you."
I knew that they wanted it to be, that Hallie would be the killer, hopefully. I wanted to do that. I tried to play her. What was so funny is there's times when you can look at Scream 2, and I kind of tried to play her sometimes with my looks like, it might be me. Because I didn't know. I was crossing my fingers that maybe they would go back and change their minds and I would end up being the killer. Maybe that's why I hung around so long in the script, because they weren't sure if I was going to be the killer or not. I will say, after I shot the movies, I was having lunch with one of the producers, and we talked about an outfit that she did not know I hated. I hated that big blousy dress I wear outside in the front with all the gang. And the costume was like, "I love that on you. Oh my God, it's so cute on you." And I was like, okay, I'll wear it. It's a really quick scene, you know. That freaking dress was in all the press pictures, every single magazine, all over the US and whatever. That was my worst challenge, was that freaking dress that I should have said I shouldn't have worn. And the producer goes, "Well, we thought you liked it because we hated it too." I was like, oh, you're kidding me. I would have changed. Nobody said anything. I had that crappy dress on, and it was everywhere. She said, "Oh, we thought you loved it. That's why you had it on." No, that was my worst challenge.
Stuff like that.
I'm not a horror fan, and but as soon as Scream, the first one, hit the theaters, everybody was talking about it, and I was really intrigued by it because I had heard how funny it was, but still how horrific it was, how absolutely scary, and so just the fact that Kevin was able to do that, to marry those two, and have it and have a horror film be funny on purpose, not just accidentally funny because it's cheesy somehow. Yeah, I was the newcomer in Scream 2, and it was a tight group. I remember that. I mean, I remember being, you know, sometimes it's hard to come in on a movie set that's tight like that, and especially with a smaller part. But I remember everybody hanging out together at lunchtime, and everyone around Wes telling stories, you know. I was sitting in my trailer, you know, that scene took, I don't know, days or whatever, but I remember being there really late one night. I was waiting in my trailer while I think a stunt person was doing some of that stuff or wrestling with Neve or something. And so I was just waiting. It was like 3 a.m. and finally I think Wes came and said, "Could you just come in and just do it?" So I did. Wes is a great guy to work with and for. He's got a really gentle quality, and yet he's in charge, and you really feel like you're in great hands with him. He's so, and you know, I mean, I think he's proven his talent, of course, over and over again. But you can sense on the set that he's totally in charge and knows exactly what he wants, and you know, just do it until you get it, and move on. And he was just very classy guy. It was a great time, and I'm proud to have played, you know, a tiny part in one of the sequels.